Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Virgo, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of March 2023. I hope you are well. I'm using the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot for you today. So a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. If the reading resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end. That is the first link in the description box. The second link in the description box is to the 6-month overviews that I did for each of the signs. They run from January to June 2023, and obviously since we are a little bit through that period now, I have reduced them accordingly. So if you'd like to know what that time frame holds in store for you and you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, you know what to do with that link. The third link is to my private community, the Order of the Phoenix, over at Circle. You can get access to all of the extended content over there, plus meet some really awesome people. So if that's your bag, please feel free to avail yourself of that link. Let's have a look and see what's going on with you, Scorpio. Scorpio. What did I say? Scorpio. Virgo. Oh, goodness. Right. Okay. Well, we have... How very interesting. We have the Four of Pentacles and the Hermit appearing reversed. Also have put out my candle. Let's put that back on again. And what about current energy? Wow. Cards are really leaping. We have the Emperor, Virgo. And what's coming towards Virgo, please? And we have the Devil. All right. Let's not worry too much about this. Let's flip this around so you can see what I'm looking at. We have the Ten of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. This Devil feels testing. That's the best way to describe what I'm feeling there. But let's get some clarifiers and we'll see what this is all about. So tell me about the Four of Pentacles, please, and the Hermit in reverse. We have the Emperor. Okay, some of you might be dealing with an Aries, but I feel like this, oh, look at that, Four of Pentacles in the upright. I feel like this is more about getting in touch with your own internal Emperor. Yeah, I'm going to take that as validation of that because we've got the Hermit in the upright here. Tell me about the Emperor. Ace of Pentacles for the Emperor. The card for the Emperor, please. Thank you. We have the Three of Cups. Tell me about the Devil. Thank you. Seven of Cups. And the Six of Cups. Okay. Right, I did say that I felt like this was going to be a testing time for you, and I stand by that. I mean, there's some big moves going on in the sky this month. And I don't think there's anybody who's not going to be affected by this. So in the first instance, we can be looking at this as a, you know, what are we looking at it like? Honestly, Virgo, it feels like there are all sorts of things that are going to be triggers that are going to be resurfacing for you this month. I think that's the best way to describe what I'm feeling. And the most important message that also almost overrides that initial message of the triggers is that you get to choose where you go from here and what you do with it. Right? We've got the Five of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck here. And we have the Ten of Pentacles. And it seems to me it's almost like a choice, like you can have everything or you can have nothing. You know, the Ten of Pentacles is the end of a cycle. And it feels like there's some sort of, I would go as far as to say like a karmic wobble, I guess. Whilst I try and shy away from the idea of a karmic test, because I feel like that is something that then implies that you're capable of either passing or failing it, and I don't think that's how these things work. More it is the consequences, and consequences are something that are they're uncomfortable for everyone, for sure. But it's almost like it's a month that could be the making of you, because it is for the first time a position where you're in, where you are absolutely confronted by your devils and you get to choose whether you continue on as you have been or whether you expand past this. Remember, in the doing of our work, our big work, what we're not trying to do is make our problems smaller. It's not possible. What we're trying to do is make ourselves bigger so that whatever comes up, we know we can deal with it. And we're seeing so much of this here in the earlier cards. We've got the Four of Pentacles in reverse, which is speaking to, excuse me, speaking to that which we have chosen to discard, right? That no longer advances. And did it ever advance us, I guess, is the question here. The things that we're holding on to, whether they are the past, whether they are, the projections of other people that we have internalized, whether it is our trauma, the question of whether it is advancing us is one that I feel that you are strong enough to ask yourself now, because the Hermit is coming out of the cave. And we can see that for certain here. The Hermit is coming out of the cave. And they're doing so in order to get to a place where they can fashion their life to be full of the things that they deem to be important. By they, I mean you, the Hermit, whoever. This Virgo energy has been isolating for too long. And this is all in your recent past, so this is something that you've already experienced, And it could be, it could have been a grand statement of coming out of the cave, or it could just be something a little subtler than that. But whichever way it's happened for you, this Emperor card seems to be somewhat of a statement over the energy of your life. Like, I have discarded that which no longer, if it ever advances me, and I am choosing to hold on to what is really, really important. Because I have been within and I have found that thing. Now, I don't think that we're talking in terms of stuff or even in terms of relationships or anything like that, Virgo. I think it runs far, far deeper. And it seems to be sitting at the level of, sitting at the level of where the things are that have triggered you in the past, I would go as far as to say. Let me pull some more cards here. I'm going to pull out the Marigold. It's the second time today this deck has been out. Tell me about the Four of Pentacles. You've got the Five of Wands appearing in the reverse. And the Four of Pentacles again. I mean, that's 3 times in quick succession. Knowing what to hold on to and knowing what to release is an incredible place to arrive at. You may not be able to do it all in one go, but that awareness that you can bring to your situation, oh, yeah, doesn't matter. There's a Three of Wands at the bottom of the deck here, and so your mind is on movement. Right? More than that, I feel like this is a lower level card of manifestation, because this is the energy that we employ to create the life that we are visualizing for ourselves. And I think there's an awful lot about almost you having reached the end of your tether now, but with the things that hold you back within yourself. There's something quite almost indomitable about it, a bit obstinate. And I'm like fuck you, I'm not going to keep doing this over and over again. It's like, I want out of the cave. I actually want out of the cave now. I want to fashion the life that I consider to be important, and I don't feel conflicted about that anymore. You seem to me to be wanting to take control here, not just of your life circumstances, but in the first instance of you. Take control of you so that you might flourish and thrive. In your current energy here, you have the Emperor. It's clarified by the Ace of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. And the Ace of Pentacles is a seed. From the Ace of Pentacles, you can have the Ten of Pentacles, but you can also have the Five of Pentacles. It's a cycle. Some, generally speaking, we hit the 5 of Pentacles before we get anywhere near the 10. And might it not be true that for you, the status quo for a long time has been the 5 of Pentacles? And when I said to you before, it felt to me like you had a choice. You get to choose which one that you want. This feels to me to be the choice. It's stay where you are or adapt and thrive. But the fact that this Emperor card has come out twice, it's Aries, right? It's initiation, it's taking control of things. It is planning and strategy and all that sort of stuff. But, the Emperor has a whole empire to run, not just a cave. And I feel you pushing yourself out there in a way that you have not done before. The power of your own mind at this point being exceedingly important. But more than that, I feel like people are important to you. Now, this is interesting because, like Virgo's got this kind of odd thing going on where you like humanity, but you just like it over there, please. You're so sensitive to your environment, so sensitive to the nuances of the energies that people give off around you, that sometimes it's just easier for people to be elsewhere. It's easier for you to be on your own. But for whatever reason, it seems like the tide is turning here and there's something different that you want. Like, you want to be part of a supportive group, whether it is you doing the supporting or whether it is someone else. I mean, some of you might actually be setting up some sort of support group in some sort of way. We could see that being very Emperor energy right there. But even if you're not, this pushing out of the cave and pushing towards people, right? Planting the seed that we hope will grow into eventually a 10 of Pentacles. So that at some point that too will be dropping its own seeds. It's tremendous. It's a point of attention for you now. It seems to be a place where your mind is focused to. And now it's less about what has happened in the past, and it's less about what's happened to you in the last 3 years. It's like it feels like a drive, a need to move forwards. How about the Ace of Pentacles and 3 of Cups? Hanged Man. Something has occurred, and it's made you entirely change your perspective. I mean, the Hanged Man sometimes talks about submission and sacrifice and whatnot. And we could see this as a way of being all like, well, you need to grow a tree so that you can hang yourself upside down from it, It's, but I don't think that's it. I feel like you've already done it. To it then, where I was going with that is submitting to whatever is, submitting to what your understanding of your life is and not making any kind of attempt to push past that, except that something has changed in the here and now. Your perspective has changed entirely. You seem to be in receipt of new wisdom, and this seems to be spurring you on to look for the emotional support, whether you're giving it or receiving it. It's about pushing out of the cave and finding people. Like-minded people, almost certainly. People who might need, that's possible too. Because the Justice card is at the bottom of the deck here. And whilst it talks about balance and it talks about equilibrium and all of those things that are really important, it also talks about consequences. And have I not already used that word? I feel like I have. It talks about the consequences of our actions or potentially of our inactions. And I think, Virgo, you're at the point now where you are not willing to tolerate the consequences of someone else's actions. Does that make sense? If the consequences of someone else's actions is that you stay in the cave, you stay there forever. It doesn't even feel like a fuck you to somebody else. It feels like a, no, I'm not prepared to spend the rest of my life like this. Like I said, I want out. So now there's some aspect of this that is logistics, like how do I make this happen? But it seems to me that you're chasing a feeling. That's a good feeling. It's a very good feeling. And the amount of empowerment that is coming off this reading is absolutely extraordinary. Sometimes it takes a really big shove to get us where we want to go, right? Or, we're trying to get up a ladder and we can't quite reach. It's like you've got to summon all the strength that you've got to make that first rung, but once you've got it, the rest of it's easy. That seems to be the kind of energy that I'm feeling here with you. You might be dealing with an Aries, you might be dealing with a Pisces, you're dealing with another Virgo, possibly. But it's almost like nothing has changed outside of you, but something, it's like the light going on inside your head about your circumstances and where it's stopping you from being able to achieve your potential. And more than that, how you are absolutely adamant that this will not continue. It's extraordinary. So when we move into February, we've got this Devil card. It's the card of Capricorn, and it's one that deals with difficult energies, right? It tends to be associated with feeling trapped, feeling stuck, feeling afraid of things. But the interesting thing about the Devil is he has no power of his own. None. The only power that he has is that which we allow him to have. So he weaves illusions and he tells us that we should be anxious about this thing, or we should be overthinking this thing, or we should be looking between the lines of what someone else has said here, or considering whether somebody actually is being true and honest with us. Allowing us to get our head all tied up in knots. And he has us in a state of being negative, and maybe as being critical, and maybe almost certainly actually self-critical. It's like every time you flagellate yourself with some sort of narrative about how you can't do something, or how it's difficult for you to do because of X, Y, and Z. It's likely true, but it's kind of testing. Because it feels to me, like I was saying before, like you have this ability to be able to choose which one of these outcomes you want. But in order to do it, you are going to have to shove really hard to get yourself out of an illusory place that you have been in. Ultimately, the Devil card talks about fear, whether it's anxiety about our appearance, or the way that we come across to people, or our abilities to do anything at all. Whether it's the shadow part of ourselves that we really, really repress. Because what we don't want, what we want more than nothing else, is to have nothing to do with that aspect of our character. That's the shit the Devil feeds on. Really, really enjoys that sort of stuff. Really enjoys watching you tie yourself up in knots. And in the meantime, you are not exercising free will. You are not manifesting the kind of life that you want for yourself. You're trapped. Now, in the Waite-Smith version of this deck, which is, this one, the one that everybody knows, this one, the Devil is depicted as having two naked people in front of him, and they're chained by the neck, right, to the plinth that he's sitting on. And it all looks very dark and demonic and not very pleasant at all. But the chains around the neck are very loose. And with time and with effort, it is possible for anybody who is stuck in devil energy, whether it's, substance abuse and misuse, whether it's escapist behaviours, sex addiction, porn addiction, any one of these, even codependent relationships and stuff like that, anything that feels kind of toxic. It is possible for people to realise that the way that they feel bound by this is a trick of the mind. And that should they choose to do so, they could lift those chains up and they could walk away from that. And in that moment, the devil has no power. Now, I mentioned free will and whatnot. You know, some of you will know that the Lover's card is, you know, it's the same card as the devil. It's easier to see in the Waite-Smith deck. You know, this is numbered 15 and we've got reduces down to 6. The Lover's card is also 6, and we've got 2 cards that essentially have the same scene on them, but in one we've got an angel and we've got 2 people who are standing there in their own free will, making decisions about what they will do with the rest of their life, right? Not feeling helpless in the face of decisions that they have made in the past that seem to have got them to a place where now they have a chain around their neck. It's like, nah, I can do whatever I want. And the question is, how much are the memories of the past clouding the situation for you? You know, when I said right at the beginning that I felt like this month might trigger you a little bit, it might bring these new wounds up to these old wounds up to the surface for you to see in all their glory. It's not to punish you. It's not to leave you feeling in a 5 of Pentacles kind of state. It's to give you perspective. It's to help you contextualize it, and it is to give you an opportunity to sit in conscious judgment as to which direction you intend to go. You know, if Virgo has a fault, I love you, but we all have faults. It's focusing too much on the detail. It's losing sight of the big picture. So you might be sitting in your, in your life now, and you might be like, well, it's a 5 of Pentacles and it fucking sucks. I really don't like it. And you might feel powerless. The devil would have you feeling powerless to change that. It's just like, well, sometimes life is really, really unfair, and sometimes people cop all of the worst things, and, I happen to be one of those. But what the devil would have you not know is that it's a journey. It's always a journey. Nothing lasts forever unless you try and make it last forever. And even then, it doesn't last forever. Because going from the Ace to the 5 and then up to the 10 is a process that the devil doesn't want you to know is available to you. The devil would prefer that you sat confused, sat stuck in the past, obsessing over the details of the past, rather than looking at the bigger picture, which is that there is a huge cycle going on here. And it takes you all the way up to the 10 of Pentacles. Tell me about the 7 of Cups and the 6 of Cups, please. Oof. Right. Holy shit. Well, mic drop moment there. We've got the High Priestess at the bottom of the deck. We're talking about opening up to wisdom rather than illusion, right? Taking the knowledge that you have and looking for ways to use it that are wise. Not ways to use it that have you, I guess, engaging in self-flagellation behaviours, because, it's very neatly and very succinctly stated here. We have the 2 of Wands and we have the Fool. Now, as we know, the 2 of Wands talks about a crossroads and all that sort of thing. But talking of the detail, the way that I see the 2 of Wands has evolved a little bit recently, and it is this understanding that actually we have choices every single day to make. We have decisions to make. And sometimes it's not about the big one. It's not about choosing 5 of Pentacles or 10 of Pentacles. It's looking at our everyday habits, our day-to-day behaviours, and saying, are the things that I do on the day-to-day, are they supportive of me starting anew, starting afresh? Or do I have an idea and then I don't back it up with anything at all? Because this says you can choose to start again. Now I'm wondering if this is anything to do with Aquarius, the Aquarius movement of Pluto into Aquarius. Because the energy, I feel like, honestly, I feel like the energy's been building up since about November, being able to feel it. Everything's starting to change. You are ready for change. You're almost ripe for change, Virgo. Self-directed change, because it's the only way that this is going to happen. In some ways, you seem to be a slave to the memories of the past, or you have been a slave to the memories of the past. And this month, when things kind of blow up again in your face, it's almost like actually there's some sort of detachment that allows you to look at what is going on with fresh eyes. It's interesting. Never mind. There's a new cycle that is being held for you this month, Virgo. It's almost like a door is opening and there's a portal there, and it is asking you to walk through it. But first, you must dissolve the illusion of the devil. Now I make it sound like, it makes it sound like it's very easy. Just dissolve that illusion and just get on with it. Well, I think that you've been working on this anyway, because that's what all of this energy is about here. But the testing part of this is asking you to push right through it and see what's at the other side. Because for some of the things that represent the darkest, densest, ugliest devils for you, it really is just a front. And when you push past it, there's not very much there of significance to justify quite how dark and dense this devilish energy has got. I'm reminded of that scene in Labyrinth. You know, where they're trying to escape through the tunnels, and there's this big sort of death machine thing with all twirling spikes and stuff that's coming right through the tunnel. It's just chop up anything that's behind it, and it's a very dramatic scene, you know, and they manage to get out of a side door, and it goes past, and there's two little goblins just like cranking it behind. It feels like that. You know, you've evolved and you've grown so much, Virgo. You've got so much insight, so much spiritual wisdom at your disposal. And I think you feel like it's time for you to share that, in whatever sense that applies. Like I said, that this sense of getting out amongst people seems really strong with you. But you have to get past that chompy, twirly machine, right? That was an illusion, right there. In the film. The question of how long you are going to be tethered to memories that fog and obscure your route forwards, instead of turning to face the future and saying that you're ready to go there. You feel to me like you're being washed clean, Virgo. I think that's the best way to describe what I'm feeling. There's so much authority and determination and wisdom. Internal wisdom and external, almost like practicality and whatnot. But in order for you to start again properly, it's one last shove. That's what you need. And it needs to come from you. And it needs to be on the basis of which one of these things do you choose? Do you choose the Fool and the Ten of Pentacles, or do you choose to perpetuate the Five of Pentacles moving forwards? I know which I'd rather, but I can't make that decision for you. Because it's very easy to talk about it. It's a very different thing to actually do it. But I think there's something in the air, there's something in the energy, there's maybe something in the sky that seems to be supporting you on that one this month, Virgo. And one last shove will get you to where the benefits are. Where it's not just about the grind and the isolation and the picking over of the detail and whatnot. It's having an opportunity to start again in whatever way that resonates with you. I feel you showing up very, very differently by the end of March compared to where you are now. And it's all self-generated. It's almost like some sort of spiritual survival mechanism is kicking in. You know? Oh, right. Well, this is very interesting. I'm going to go over to Vimeo now, and we're going to pull March apart specifically because it looks like there's an awful lot going on. If you'd like to join me, you know what to do with that first link in the description box. But if not, I would say if this month the devil and all of his works, you know, appear in front of you in a way that challenges you, know that you are so close to the finish line. It's just that last little push. Things can and will be very different on the other side of this month. Okay, Virgo, know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.